Hello everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. On our YouTube channel, we talk about all things homesteading and try to implement some of those things on our rural 100 acres in southern West Virginia. Yippee, yippee! On this video, I want to answer another viewer question that I thought was timely. A question actually came in just last night, so I thought, well, let's go ahead and address it right now because it's that time of year. So the question comes from Maverick2711. He says, getting my first 2 pigs in 5 days. They'll be on organic feed. Everyone whose brother or daddy or uncle, sister's nephew that raised a pig has been saying, insert random relative here, always fed his or her pig on corn for the last week. Is this a thing? Question mark. Is it something I should incorporate? As a side note, my organic feed supplier does sell cracked or whole corn, and it's about $6 cheaper per 50. So it'd save me a few bucks in those last couple weeks. Not enough to matter, but if it's good advice, it's doable. So really that question is, should Maverick finish his hogs on corn as opposed to continuing to feed them the organic feed that he has? Am I keeping you from the feeder there, lovely? And when you think about it, the first thing that comes to mind when I think about people finishing on corn, I think about grain-fed beef. Again, before grass-fed beef took back off again, before that, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, however further back you want to go, you had grain-fed beef. And that's what everyone's like, oh, it's grain-fed, it's going to be so flavorful, it's going to have nice marbling, the fat's going to be great, it's going to taste really good, and it's going to give you heart disease. So grain-fed was really in vogue then. Well, the practice that I know, and again, I haven't raised cattle, but the practices I was aware of are guys that would maybe grass feed their cattle for a while because they could save money if they had them on pasture during the summer. And then as they got closer to that processing date or got closer to taking them to market, they started loading them up on grain. And so the identifier was, hey, you brought your cow to market, and the guys that are looking at buying it sees that it's pooping corn. It's got a lot of grain in its manure. They say, oh, that's a grain-fed cow. Now, I'm not saying everybody was doing that underhanded. They were trying to get away with something. But just finishing a ruminant like that on grain was a way to get maybe some higher dollar there, or just to finish it out, maybe to affect flavor. Again, not a cow guy. I can't really attest to that. But let's talk about the question about pigs. Now, Maverick says he's using organic feed, and he has the opportunity to finish on corn. Should he do that? My thought is no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. There's really no benefit on finishing on corn. I mean, you may, in the last week or so, you may be able to increase fat content a little bit. To me, I don't think it's going to be a benefit to flavor finishing on corn. It's not really going to help there. What I like to do is I like to finish my pigs on as much protein as possible. So, again, a pig is not a ruminant, so it does have to have grain. That's why my piglets that are about 100, 110 right now pounds, they have access to this feeder. It's got a 16% hog feed in it. We don't do non-GMO, we don't do organic, because I really don't have a source anywhere in the state. So we give them unlimited feed here, so they're going to bulk up, they're going to grow the next couple months on this. And when it comes time to finishing them, I will actually back down from the 16% hog feed to a 12%, what's considered a finisher. This is a grower, 12% would be a finisher. The reason why I back down when I really want to let them have more protein is I want to encourage them to get their protein from around here. I'm standing up in the south pasture. This is what I call my tractor shed, which is one of our areas of shelter for the pigs. But everywhere around me is white oak, beech, red oak, hickory, walnut, just a variety of nut-producing trees that are obviously going to drop their harvest this fall. And that's why I try to schedule my, I do once a year herd, so that's why I try to schedule my finishing in the fall so they can finish really finish out their time on a lot of that protein. So getting those acorns, getting that beech nut, getting walnuts and hickories, man, they can really pack on really good clean weight and not just increased fat because I've pushed a lot of corn their way. So Maverick, can answer your question, no, I wouldn't finish on corn. It could save you a little bit of money. I mean, you could do that. Obviously, if the corn, I assume the corn would still be organic, but I don't see that as a selling point. In fact, if I was marketing that to say, hey, these pigs are finished on corn, I don't know that that would be a draw to a lot of people. Organic fed, organic raised, but then finished on a heavy ration of corn. I don't know that that would resonate as well with my customers if I was pushing that. So I would definitely say that whatever you're feeding organically, just continue to do so. If you've got the opportunity to finish them out on pasture, they're going to get a lot of good protein from woodlot if you have that. I would just promote that to say, hey, I've got pigs that I'm finishing on pasture. They've got access to all this natural protein. And even if they don't, even if you don't have them on a woodlot, you got them on wide open pasture grass, then I would just say, hey, these are finished on pasture, and we're not pumping a lot of grain in them. To me, that would be a better selling point than the alternative of saying these have been finished on corn. So I wouldn't change the diet just because you feel that people are influencing you historically. Say, well, that's what we've always done. That's what my uncle did. That's what so-and-so did. We've seen in some of these farming practices, the old ways aren't necessarily the best when it comes to feed and feed ration there. So just let your hogs finish on pasture the way that you got them, and just keep on rolling. Well, appreciate the questions there. It's kind of a short video, got a lot going on this week, and we'll be able to share more of that in the coming weeks. Really appreciate the feedback we got on Monday's video where we're talking about marketing. I was worried our marketing discussion would get a little too dry and you guys would be ready to hang yourselves in the barn. So I was really excited with the amount of feedback that we've got. I appreciate that. We'll incorporate some more of that in. If you want to know what we're talking about, if you didn't happen to see Monday's video, I'll link to it right here. You can go check it out. Be sure to jump in on that conversation if you want. There's some good back and forth discussions we're having there. In fact, that's where this question came from. Well, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to check us out on our website, redtoolhouse.com, and also check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/redtoolhousefarm. Take care, everybody.